everyone. If there's no snow around your house yet for the holidays, I have just the perfect fix. Follow me along and learn how to make this beautiful snowflake. I've had so much fun making mine. You can have your own personal snowstorm. So let's get going. For this star ornament, I am using the medium size belt loop folder, size 15/30. It will finish the strips up when it's all folded and pressed at about 5/8 of an inch. I have two 12-weight glamour threads in my chain looper in silver metallic, and I'm using a 4-thread cover stitch, also known as a triple cover stitch, with 3 needles. My tensions on all of my needles are on the default setting, and my chain looper tension has been dropped to 1.0 on my machine. I find with the metallic filament in the threads that if I lower that, it makes it easier for all 3 needles to catch the thread. I've cut my fabric strip just a little bit wider than 1 1/8 inch, and I have fused Heat and Bond Light to the wrong side. You can see it's a little bit shiny. And I'm going to run this through with that triple cover stitch and then give it a good press. The Heat and Bond, even though it feels a little bit sticky, it goes right through the belt loop folder very nicely, and I don't have any problem stitching through it either. So I'm going to run this through, put my needles down. I've got my fabric under my needles. And this strip was cut the width of the fabric, so it's about 42 to 43 inches long, and I will then cut those into 7-inch long strips. Use my locking fork, cut my threads, get my stitch locked. Okay. The reason I use the Heat and Bond Light on the inside of the fabric, now it's encased in that, is because this is a quilting weight cotton, and it gives it just a little more body to create the star and not have it be floppy at all. So I'm going to press this, and then we'll cut these into 7-inch strips. I've cut my 2 long strips into 12 7-inch pieces. And at the end, because I'm using 12-weight threads, sometimes the ends of the threads can get a little bit unravelly. So I like to use a little bit of crazy glue across either end just to hold them so that it doesn't look messy. And I just dot that along the edge of either end and let it dry. And when it's completely dry, then we're ready for construction. Now it's time to start the construction. And it's kind of nice if you have a gridded mat because it makes it very easy to be precise. You'll also want some wonder clips or other clips so that as you glue things together, they stay put. So we're going to start with 6 strips first, and we're going to find the center of each vertically and horizontally and put those together. And I am going to use just a little bit of crazy glue right here and put this down. And I'm going to just press on it for a minute. And then I think I'll put a clip in there. And this is kind of like a basket weave from here on in. And just make sure you didn't go crooked or anything like I just did. So I'm going to put that in. Then the next one is going to go over, and the spacing is really up to you, but you want to make sure that all of your ends are even to get the nicest look for that. So I'll put a dot of crazy glue right here and put this one on top. Mine is probably a generous 1/8 of an inch away from the center one. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this other side. Let me just move this up a little bit. I want to make sure my top and bottom edges are even. So that looks better. And now I'll put the other one on. I'm going to take this clip off. Crazy glue sets pretty quickly. And I'm going to put this one right here. Get that one on. That looks good. And we'll give that a minute for all of those to set. On the horizontal one, I added a strip and I went over, just again, like a basket weave. And I will do the same thing on this one, where I'll come under this one, but over each of these. So I'll get a dot of glue there. And, ooh, I think I put the glue on the wrong side. I did. Okay, well, no problem at all. We'll just let that dry and ignore it. So I want to get these edges all nice and straight with each other. What I'm going to do now, instead of being on the incorrect side, is dot the glue right here, push this down, get these all nice and parallel to each other. And I think we're pretty good. I'll give that another minute to set, and I'll be right back. I'm letting these finish setting up. I also glued these other points just to keep everything in place. And while these are drying, I'm going to repeat the same process on the next 6 strips. I have both sets of the 6 strips put together, and they're all glued at the intersections. So now it's time to start making the snowflake itself. So what we're going to do is take each end piece and bring it around, and I'm going to glue the ends together at a right angle to each other, and then use a clip again to get it set with the glue. So, and I don't think it really matters which one you put over the other one. I haven't noticed that it really makes a difference. So we'll just go like this. I'm going to bring these ends together. And one other nice thing that's good about using the Heat and Bond light underneath is that it tends to eliminate fraying on the ends of the fabric itself. So you have a nice clean end, which is a good thing. So there's one corner. Now let's do the second corner. And I guess we'll put it like this. So we'll put the glue here. Bring this around. Glue it end and edge to edge. I give it a little press. I'm going to put a clip in here to hold this in the meantime. And I like to let these set for a little bit because they are kind of stiff. So you really do need to let the glue set up. Let's do this one. And then I'm going to repeat the process on the other set of the 6 strips. And then I'll show you what we do to create that whole look. It's easy and it's pretty, and I just love the metallic thread. I think that really adds a lot to it. You can see it up close. It's very sparkly and nice. So here's the last corner. And we're going to leave those other strips, just in case you're wondering, those center strips. We're going to leave those alone for the time being. And then when we put both sides of this together with the other set of the woven strips, you'll see what we do with those too. So I'm going to leave this alone. So this is what this looks like right now. And then I think these are pretty well dry, and I'm going to repeat the process on these, and I'll be back. Now that both sides of the strips are set, what I want to do is put them together, and I've already done this on some of them, where the pointed joined pieces on this side are put on the same angle as the straight pieces of the opposite side. And I saved one to finish up here to show you. So this is one of the straight sides. It was glued to the opposite straight side. And now I'm going to do the same thing over here. And I've already done it on the other ones. And you'll definitely want to give this a little bit of extra time to set, because with the fabric and the heat and bond light and everything else, it makes the fabric pieces a little bit stiff. So you really have to give them that clip to hold them in place and let them set. And these are doing pretty well. I'm almost done with these. And then what I will do is add a hanger, and you can do that any way you want. I think what I will do is make a hole in one, much like, let me move that aside, like this one. I use my cam snap setter, and I have one that makes a hole in it. So it went through all of the layers really easily. And I put a serger chain through it, and I can hang this up now. And I'll do the same thing with today's, and it should be ready in just a little while. I'm going to give this a few minutes to set up and ready to go, and I'll show you the finished product. Now that all of these ends have dried, I think you can see how the straight edges are glued to the ones that are kind of the loops. And when you offset one side against the other, this is the look that you get. And this one is really nice because it's almost a little more 3D. But one last finishing touch I like to do is I like to clip off these little tails that are on the edge, just so that we have a nice point here. And I think I'm just going to use my rotary cutter because this blade is just about cooked. So I'm going to do that. And after I finish that up, I'll show you what it looks like. Here's one edge, and you have to be kind of careful when you're trimming these. I'm just going to do the ones where the straight edge is against my rotary mat first. Just being super careful. You don't want to cut your finger either, so keep it out of the way. So that's that. And you can see how much nicer than it looks. It cleans up very nicely. Let me come around here. Do this one. The reason I said this rotary blade is just about cooked is that I've been using it to cut different things, and since it's going through glue and metallic thread and everything else, that's probably going to finish it off. So I don't really care if it's at the end of its life for this. Okay, so that's that. Now I'm going to flip it over and do the other side. Okay, all of the points are cut, and I'm really loving this because it kind of has a 3D look to it. It looks sort of messy from the side, but it's really pretty. I'll put a hanger on this, and it will be ready. I think I'll probably put it in front of one of my windows because I think it'll be really nice. And I might overnight put something like scrunch some bubble wrap or something up in between here to kind of train it to stay open and give it that kind of airy look, so that it does maintain that 3D appearance. So I think if I put some bubble wrap in and just let it sit overnight, that might be enough to get it to work, because the heat and bond light on the center in the middle of each strip is really keeping them nice and firm. Let's just do a quick review of how this goes together with both sides. I have the chain looper threads, the silver thread showing on both sides of this star. And as you can see, the straight lines that were not joined to create these pointed loops remain straight, and then they're glued. When we put the two sides together, we turn one of them at about a 45-degree angle so that those loops meet the straight lines. And then we glue them together. I just wanted to be sure that I clarified all of that. And these are all dry now, so it looks great. And I think we are in good shape. And I decided overnight that I would do a little bit of blinging up on this. So I'll post a photo when it's all done. I hope you had fun making the snowflake. I'd love to see photos of yours. You can send those to gail@gailpatrice.com. And thanks for joining me today. Happy holidays to all of you.